Marcus's law school graduation was meant to be the crowning glory of the Sullivan family. 3 intense years at Harvard Law, graduating summa cum laude, and already promised a spot at Dad's prestigious firm. Everything about it screamed success. The entire extended family gathered on the Cambridge campus to celebrate the Golden Boy's latest accomplishment. I arrived about half an hour early, hoping to grab a decent seat before the inevitable marathon of speeches praising my older brother's brilliance began. Anna. Mom spotted me right away, though her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. You actually came? Of course. It's Marcus's big day. Well, we know how busy you are with your government work. The way she said government work made it sound like I was filing parking tickets instead of shaping national security policy. Dad appeared beside her, adjusting his tie like always. Good to see you, Anna. How's everything in Washington? It's going well. Still doing that policy analysis thing? Asked Uncle Robert, who'd never managed to understand my job beyond something with the government and a security clearance. Something like that, I replied. The truth was much more complicated. For the past 3 years, I'd served as a senior advisor on national security policy, reporting directly to the National Security Council. My clearance level was higher than most cabinet members, and my recommendations had influenced decisions with global impact. But trying to explain any of that to my family was a waste of breath, partly because of confidentiality, mostly because they'd never cared to ask. Well, I'm sure it's very important, Mom said in that tone she used for talking about other people's hobbies. Marcus is thrilled to be joining the firm. He'll make partner in no time. Then came the man of the hour, Marcus, radiating confidence in his robes. At 28, he had Dad's commanding air, Mom's polished charm, and that natural charisma that made people hang on his every word. Anna, he greeted me warmly before immediately turning to address the relatives nearby. Everyone, thank you for being here. It really means a lot. We wouldn't miss it for the world, sweetheart, Aunt Linda gushed. Harvard Law. We're so proud. Marcus smiled, soaking in the praise. It's been an amazing 3 years. The networking alone has been worth it. I already have connections with 3 Supreme Court justices' chambers. The family murmured in admiration. Classic Marcus, always the showman, always the centerpiece of every conversation. So, Anna, Uncle Robert said, anything exciting happening with your government job? Before I could respond, Marcus jumped in smoothly. She's been doing great work in D.C., lots of administrative, behind-the-scenes stuff. A subtle jab, but effective. In one sentence, he'd made my career sound like glorified filing. Administrative work is essential, Aunt Linda chimed in. Someone has to handle the paperwork. I felt the heat creeping up my neck. It's not exactly paperwork. What is it, then? Dad asked, though he was already looking toward the auditorium doors. How could I tell them that I briefed cabinet members on international threats? That my work shaped the president's decisions in global crises? That foreign intelligence agencies knew my name? National security policy, I said simply. Right, policy, Marcus nodded with mock understanding. Very technical. Anna's always been good with details. Just then, an announcement called everyone to take their seats. The graduating class was large, and the auditorium buzzed with excitement and pride. As we head in, Marcus declared, I've got the first few rows reserved for VIP family and my law review friends. I watched as our aunts, uncles, cousins, and family friends all followed him toward the front, while I was quietly directed toward the back like an afterthought. The back? I asked. Just making sure there's space for everyone important, Marcus said quickly, flashing his signature smile. You get it, right? Oh, I got it. Marcus had his own ranking system, and I clearly didn't make the cut for the top tier. My invitation had been a courtesy, nothing more. As I walked toward the back rows, I passed clusters of family members settling comfortably into the premium seats. Mom and Dad were up front, of course, with Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert right behind them. Marcus's law school buddies had an entire section reserved near the stage. And me? I ended up alone among strangers who either arrived late or didn't rank high enough to sit closer. The ceremony unfolded with the usual pomp, faculty in colorful robes, lofty speeches about justice and leadership, the traditional processional music echoing through the hall. From my distant seat, I watched my family glow with pride as Marcus's name was announced. They erupted into applause, Dad on his feet, Mom tearing up, everyone else clapping loud enough to make sure the whole room knew that Harvard Law's newest star was a Sullivan. I joined in, clapping politely, detached from the spectacle. It was familiar territory, Marcus soaking up attention, the family orbiting him like planets around the sun, and me existing quietly in the background, unseen but still somehow expected to be there. After the ceremony, a reception filled the law school courtyard with laughter, champagne, and cameras. I hung back until the crowd thinned, then found my family gathered around Marcus, snapping photos and making dinner plans. "Anna," Mom called out. "Come get in the picture with Marcus." I stepped into the group, standing slightly behind everyone else as Marcus posed front and center with his diploma and that polished grin of his. After a few shots, the photographer, one of Marcus's friends, suggested, "Let's do immediate family only." I started to move closer, but Marcus lifted his hand. "Actually, let's start with parents and grandparents first. Anna, would you mind taking the picture?" His words hit like a cold slap. I wasn't immediate family now, I was the help. Still, I took the camera. For the next 10 minutes, I captured photo after photo, Marcus with Mom and Dad, with Grandma and Grandpa, with the aunts and uncles. Every combination imaginable, except the one with me. "These are great," Mom said, scrolling through the shots. "Marcus looks so handsome in his robes." "We should frame the one with the whole family," Dad added. "Which one's that?" I asked before I could stop myself. Marcus smirked slightly. "The one with everyone important." Then, realizing his slip, he quickly added, "I mean, everyone who's local. Since you're based in DC and all." No one said a word. The excuse hung in the air, thin as tissue paper. Apparently, living in another city, and having a job no one understood, meant I didn't count. That's when I saw them, 2 men in dark suits cutting through the crowd, their movements sharp and deliberate. My instincts kicked in immediately. The posture, the coordinated scanning, the earpieces, every sign pointed to federal protective detail. "Miss Sullivan," the lead agent said as he approached. "Agent Rodriguez, Secret Service. We need to escort you to your vehicle." All conversation stopped. "Secret Service?" Mom breathed, her voice barely audible. Rodriguez nodded briskly. "Ma'am, we've received credible intelligence regarding a possible threat. Protocol requires that we relocate Miss Sullivan to a secure location immediately." Marcus blinked, his mouth half open. "A threat? What's going on?" "I'm not at liberty to share operational details, sir," Rodriguez replied evenly. He turned to me again. "Miss Sullivan, if you'll come with us." A third agent approached, holding a small leather folder embossed with a familiar seal. "Your materials from the National Security Council," he said quietly, handing it over. "The President is requesting your assessment on the situation. Before tonight's cabinet meeting." The words hung in the air, heavy and electric. Cabinet meeting. Dad's mouth fell open. "The President's cabinet?" Agent Rodriguez nodded once, addressing me directly. "Ma'am, we need to move." Marcus's diploma slipped from his hand and hit the ground with a dull thud. His eyes were fixed on the gold presidential seal stamped on my briefing folder. "Anna," his voice was faint. "What's going on?" I glanced around. My family looked like they'd been turned to stone, Mom clutching Dad's arm for balance, Uncle Robert staring at the agents like extras from a movie had just walked into real life. "I work for the President," I said simply. "Senior Advisor on National Security Policy. The administrative work you've all heard about involves briefing cabinet members and assessing national threats." Rodriguez took a step closer. "Ma'am, it's time." I nodded. Understood. Then, turning to my family, I said, "Congratulations, Marcus. I wish I could stay longer, but duty calls." "Wait." Dad's voice cracked as I started toward the black SUV waiting at the courtyard entrance. "Anna, we didn't know. You never told us." I stopped and looked back. "You never asked." And when I tried, Marcus called it administrative work, and everyone changed the subject. Mom's eyes were wet. "You mean, you actually work for the president?" "For the past 3 years," I replied. "The same job that wasn't worth a seat near the front or a place in the family photos." The courtyard had gone quiet. Dozens of graduation guests were watching now, phones raised to capture the surreal scene, Secret Service agents escorting one of their own family's guests away. "Miss Sullivan," Agent Rodriguez said gently. "The vehicle's ready." I followed them toward the SUV, but Marcus's voice stopped me again. "Anna. Please, what just happened?" I turned. The whole family stood there, shocked, silent, still trying to process what they'd seen. Marcus held his diploma like he didn't remember picking it back up. "What happened?" I said evenly. "Is that while you were networking with judges and polishing your resume, I was working to prevent global crises. While you were making law review, I was briefing the president. While you were celebrating your graduation, I was helping safeguard millions of lives." Dad took a step forward. "Anna, why didn't you ever tell us?" "Because every time I mentioned my work, you turned the conversation back to Marcus. Because you all decided my career mattered less. Because you sat me in the back row and left me out of the pictures." Rodriguez opened the car door. "Ma'am." I got in, lowering the window as we prepared to pull away. "Congratulations again, Marcus. I'm sure you'll be excellent at Dad's firm. Maybe one day you'll represent clients as important as the ones I brief." As the SUV rolled out of the courtyard, I caught one last glimpse of my family, still standing together, silent, the crowd buzzing around them. My phone vibrated. A message from Agent Rodriguez. "ETA to airport, 15 minutes. Air Force transport prepped for immediate departure to Washington." Then another text, from my assistant. "The president moved the cabinet meeting to 6 p.m. You're opening the briefing." I smiled to myself. In a few hours, I'd be in the Situation Room, shaping foreign policy. The paperwork my family mocked was steering global security. My phone rang. "Marcus." "Anna, I still don't get it," he said, his voice trembling. "Secret Service? The president? What is all this?" "It's simple," I said. "While you built a legal career, I built a national one. You impressed professors, I impressed the people who run the country. But you never said. You never cared to listen." There was silence. Then, softly, "Anna, we're sorry. We should have paid attention." "Yes," I said, "but that's not my burden anymore." As the car pulled up to the Air Force jet, I added, "For years, I wanted your approval. Today, I realized I don't need it. I already have the respect of people who matter." "We matter," Marcus said, his voice breaking. "We're your family." "Family doesn't cut you out of photos or belittle your work," I replied. The SUV stopped. Rodriguez opened the door. "I have to go, Marcus. The president's waiting." "Can we fix this later?" he asked desperately. "Maybe," I said. "But next time, I'll choose the seating chart." I ended the call and stepped onto the jet. In 90 minutes, I'd be briefing the President of the United States. Tomorrow, Marcus would report for his first day at Dad's firm. Tonight, I was advising the leader of the free world. And for the first time, I finally understood what real success looked like.